man.
All right, you ready to do some off-season files?
Yes.
I feel like we need to.
You know what I learned yesterday? We need to do a reset before all these because cutting these is a pain in the ass.
Yes.
Because we just kind of dive into things. So sometimes the graphic is another team. I had a couple people yesterday message me and go, what's happening right here? Because you just randomly start talking, like there's some bullshit. So we need to do the whole subscribe thing and, all that marketing shit that I try to tell you.
All right, welcome into the Sportsocracy. Like, share, and follow us on all of the social medias at the Sportsocracy. And, of course, click that subscribe button every time so you'll know when we put something out new. We continue with the off-season files. The Carolina Panthers are up next. And the Carolina Panthers, it was a very good start to the Matt Rule era. They had an offense that could move the ball. Their defense was not great. But overall, I think the Carolina Panthers have a lot of building blocks that they can work toward. Now, they picked 8th overall in the draft. There's been a lot of talk about what to do with Teddy Bridgewater. The first thing out of Matt Rule's mouth at the end of the season was Teddy Bridgewater is going to have a good offseason if he wants to have a future with this team. Now, I applauded him for his honesty at the moment, but now we kind of, we're coming down a few weeks into the, a month into the offseason, and nothing has happened, and we're finding out that Teddy Bridgewater's been offered up for Matt Stafford. We're hearing that the Panthers are all in on Deshaun Watson. So if the Panthers don't make a move for a quarterback, which I think they probably still will, they're going to be in a hell of a spot, just like the Houston Texans, if they have a quarterback that they've been trying to get rid of, but they can't. I think that's the biggest downside or the biggest con for the Carolina Panthers this offseason. If they're not able to move on from Teddy Bridgewater, it's going to be very precarious going forward.
No, it's not. Teddy knows what the business is. There's no doubt. Teddy knows what the hook is.
Okay.
He's a journeyman quarterback that had a catastrophic knee injury that's been on 4 teams in 5 years. He knows what this is. It's not like he's going to show up with picket signs and shit. He knows who he is. If Teddy Bridgewater is the quarterback of this team next year, I'll be honest with you, it doesn't change anything for me. All right, be really honest with yourself. Mm-hmm. Is this team markedly better if Trey Lance is the starter next year?
No.
Than Teddy Bridgewater?
No.
Are they way better if it's Mac Jones? Are they way better if it's Sam Darnold? That one I might.
No.
That one I might say yes.
I don't know about that.
I do. If they wind up with Sam Darnold, I like this team a lot. Other than that, than Deshaun Watson, but you have to gut the team to get Deshaun Watson. And you've got a defense that the oldest, no doubt starter on the defense is Shaq Thompson. Do you know how old he is?
28.
He's 26.
Okay.
That's the oldest, no doubt starter on the defense. So, I mean, you've got pieces here. This is just one of those things. The thing that I can't say this enough about Carolina. Don't put the cart before the horse. Mm-hmm. And that's what I feel like they're trying to do. You have good young pieces. Robbie Anderson's on a team-friendly deal. Mm-hmm. DJ Moore's still on a rookie deal. Unfortunately, you're probably going to lose Curtis Samuel because there's teams like the Jets that are really interested that have a lot of money.
Yep.
But you've got McCaffrey. That's an albatross deal. But if you can continue to draft well, which I think they did, Derek Brown was good. Jeremy Chin was good. Brian Burns has been a good pass rusher. Shaq Thompson's fine. I don't hate Dante Jackson. You have pieces here. Just stop trying to make yourself a Super Bowl contender because you're not. Mm-hmm. If they trade for Deshaun Watson, which I think there is zero chance of, but if they do, I feel like you've tried to jump the line, mm-hmm. and you're going to wind up losing what has made you better than you were. Because I think this team's going to be markedly better next year. Do you agree or disagree?
They'll be markedly better next year?
Yes.
The defense, yes.
I think the team on the whole will be markedly better next year.
I don't know about that. Losing Curtis Samuel, I think, is going to hurt him.
Is it, though?
But that will, yeah, he did a lot.
Do you know how many guys in this draft you could replace him with? Rondale Moore is the same guy.
You're not wrong.
They're the same guy. Mm-hmm. Carolina. There are a lot of Carolina Panthers that are saying, "Oh, we should pay Curtis Samuel $12 million." No, you shouldn't. Under no circumstances should you do that. And neither should any of these other teams. My team's probably going to do it, mm-hmm. and he's fine. He had one great year in a contract year. How many times have we seen this? For the love of God, this is like This is like the ending to a Hallmark movie. We've seen how this goes. They don't stop happening. They're going to find the guy that they went to high school with that's just such a nice guy, and they're going to leave that douchebag business broker that they were engaged to. Mm-hmm. That's how every Hallmark movie ever ends. That's how Curtis Samuel getting $12 million a year ends. Ends the same way that we've seen with Albert Wilson, and on and on and on. Mm-hmm. You can replace that guy too easily. And Matt Rule in my opinion, is a really good coach. You've got an owner here that is dedicated to winning. Just don't try to jump in line. That's the one grand mistake you can make here, is try to jump in line. And thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Matt Rule is a great coach. And he, and I trust this front office so far. David Tepper taking over this team has made a big difference. I feel like there's a completely different feel around there. I think people are more excited about the future with David Tepper being in town and some of the things that have been going not only on the field, but the investments that have been made around the team as well. Carolina's a pretty cool place to be right now. It's Carolina, exactly. Carolina never won a Super Bowl.
No Hall of Famers, no Super Bowl rings, never won.
They have Hall of Fame, or they will have Hall of Famers. Cam Newton among them.
Oh. You actually believe that?
I do. I do believe he's going to get into the Hall of Fame, and we're going to go, oh, he shouldn't make the Hall of Fame, and he's going to get in. And it's going to be the one that pisses you off and sends you over the edge.
Oh, that is a day that if you like watching me lose my shit, that's a day you should be pining for. Because I will go ham sandwich on that one.
Right. I've already booked my ticket. 7 years from now, I'm going to, when that announcement comes, or 8-10 years from now, whatever it is, I can't wait because I think it's going to happen.
Well, here's the thing. This team's 8th in the NFL in salary cap. Mm-hmm. So they can benefit from some of these team-friendly deals that you're going to see this offseason. I think the thing they have to avoid is paying like a Russell Okung. You're not there. You're not there. You're not paying Russell Okung $10 million. You need Taylor Moton back, and you need to get him back at really any cost. Mm-hmm. I like Matt Paredes. I think they have pieces on the line. You have to draft better. You have drafted some god-awful linemen and reached for them. I feel like I say that about Carolina every year because they never draft them high. They always draft guys late. I've had, in the last 5 years, and I can't think of a name off the top of my head, there's been 2 separate times that they've drafted a lineman, and I went, I don't know who that is.
Greg Little? Was he one?
No, Greg Little was one of the number 1 recruits in the country.
No, I'm saying that you reached on. That they reached on.
No, he was one of those raw talents. The problem with Greg Little is that Greg Little never grew up. Mm-hmm. Greg Little was bigger than every guy he ever faced. Went into the SEC, he never got better. His feet never got better. He was heavy-footed, and his technique sucked. There was talent there, but he just wasn't an NFL talent.
Right. The offensive line has been a problem for years.
By the way, all of you that said Luke Kuechly, you're 100% right. I'm really just screwing with Carolina Panthers fans because we're in this market. Mm-hmm. And I hated the Panthers with Cam Newton because I can't stand Cam Newton. And now you have the... All right, let me ask you a question. Best case scenario at quarterback for the Carolina Panthers this offseason is what? Because I think we're going to have a different answer to this.
The best case scenario for them is to improve the offensive line. I think the best case scenario for them at this point would be ending up with Sam Darnold as their quarterback.
I would agree with that.
And with the 8th pick.
Well, if you wind up with Darnold, you're not going to have the 8th pick.
They're sending the 8th pick for Darnold.
Well, I know for a fact that 19's on the table. You ain't getting it for your second rounder. So you can get 19 from Washington. You're not going to get Sam Darnold without sacrificing the 8th pick. Now, you might get 34 back.
Right.
You might get that second pick in the second round, which is really valuable.
You'd have to, I would think.
Well, you'll either get that or the late second rounder, and then you'll have to send a 3. I just don't look at Carolina and go, I would rather it be a net neutral in terms of draft picks. Mm-hmm. All right, so we don't have that high-end one, but we have 2 2s that are in really good shape. I would rather do that than have to give extra picks, and then I don't have extra rookies, and I don't have extra depth, and I'm not making the most of the situation.
Yeah. I'm not getting something back other than Darnold. I'm not giving.
Correct.
We're not giving up the number 8 pick in the draft, and the Jets not send something back in draft capital. So if that happens, then yeah, okay. I would be in. I think that'd be an okay move for them. But I've been a guy who at the beginning said, you know what, you don't have to have a quarterback right now. If you're at the 8 spot, don't feel pressured into taking a guy that you're not sold on.
Don't ever take a guy you're not sold on. But now the second best thing Carolina could do, in my opinion, is draft Trey Lance with the intention of keeping him behind Teddy Bridgewater for a year. Next year, you can get out of the Bridgewater deal for virtually nothing.
Yep.
Kiss and make up. We're going to have a year. Bridgewater's going to know that he's going to be on the open market next year. So basically, him is going to be a contract year. You're going to get the best of him that he has. Replace Curtis Samuel with one of the litany of slot guys, and trust me, there are a shitload. I mean, there are guys in the 5th round that I think could come in and be immediate day 1 starters as slot guys. So don't pay Curtis Samuel. Get re-sign Taylor Moton to a team. I'm not going to say a team-friendly deal, to a reasonable deal. Somebody in the comments keep saying the Jets don't want Bridgewater. Bridgewater wouldn't be involved in that deal.
No.
That's not happening. If the Jets are going to trade Sam Darnold, they're taking Zach Wilson at 2, and whoever the backup's going to be is going to be somebody in that Case Keenum, Colt McCoy, vet backup tier. And
then Teddy Bridgewater ends up in New England.
Could. There's a lot of teams that Teddy Bridgewater could end up with. It's not, and that's one of the things people get locked into with deals is, we have this asset, we have to send them in the same deal. No, you don't. No. You wind up getting more doing it the other way. It'll clog up your ledger for a while, but it is what it is.
The Carolina Panthers do not. The number one thing for me is you do not need to go all in for Deshaun Watson. You don't need to mortgage the franchise to try to do that. Carolina Panther fans, it sounds great, but I'm telling you, if that ever ended up being the case, which I don't think it's going to be, but if that ever did end up being the case, I think it'd be a mistake.
I agree. Looking to the draft, and with any of the projections I do here, there's no trades. When I project, it's the picks that you have. At 8, I think 8 is the drop dead spot for Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts will not get past the Carolina Panthers, and I firmly believe that. If Pitts were to be gone, I don't see a way that Trey Lance is not there, and I don't know that they're going to be able to pass him up. The raw talent on him is so good that I think somebody like Joe Brady, somebody like Matt Rule is going to look at him and go, my God, the things he can do in this offense. If you told me right now they took anybody other than the 2 guys I just said, I'd be shocked.
If the deal doesn't get done for Sam Darnold, do they definitely take Trey Lance there? Say Trey Lance and Kyle Pitts are there at the same time.
Depends on how they feel about Trey Lance. See, the thing about having Bridgewater is you're buying yourself the opportunity to not force something. And I'll tell you, there's another guy that I know they're interested in. I just don't know if they can pull the trigger at 8. Mac Jones. Matt Rule really likes Mac Jones. They fell in love with this kid at the Senior Bowl. So don't underestimate the ability that they could have him over Trey Lance.
Yeah.
It wouldn't shock me at all.
Well, hell, the way the mocks are going, Mac Jones may not be there. He might be going 4th.
He's not going that high. you have to be really careful with the mocks because a lot of people that do what I do wind up they get information and they don't know how to cut through the bullshit. I've been doing this for a while, so I know what smoke. And last year we did a show 3 days before the draft of I can't remember what we called it. It was something to the effect of is this smoke, fire, or bullshit? And the vast majority of it's bullshit. It's just like last year. Oh, Justin Herbert's going to fall. No, he's not. Justin Herbert's going to go ahead and Tua Tagovailoa. No, he's not. I said all of these things on the 3 days leading up to the draft. We're in prime bullshit season right now. This is where you can't believe hardly anything you hear. And I think you have to be careful with that.
Like and subscribe. We'll continue all of the off-season files here in the Sportsocracy.
Well, hold on. Before we switch over, I didn't go further down into the rest of the draft. They have 2 more picks. I think this is a team that needs to come. They need another corner at some point. I look at Asante Samuel Jr., the kid out of Florida State. I think he fits this scheme really well. After watching him at Florida State, he's a guy that the stats aren't going to jump off the page to you, but the rest of the secondary was so bad that a lot of teams just avoided him. He's a guy I could see being a big ball hawk corner in the NFL. Having Dante Jackson on the other side is a perfect pairing because the biggest knock on Asante Samuel is going to be he's not that fast. He's not that big and he's not that fast. Cool. I have Dante Jackson who can haul ass. So if you have a Tyreek Hill or a Jalen Waddle or one of these receivers that's insanely fast, I can line Dante Jackson up on him. Asante Samuel can take the slower guy and he will probably shut him down. So long as you don't have a receiver that can run by him, he's going to be a really good corner in this league. After that, I start looking into safeties because they do have a deficiency at safety.
Trey Boston's gone now.
Trey Boston's gone. The current depth chart has Justin Burris and Miles Hartsfield and Justin Burris is a free agent. I could see them looking to add something on the offensive line. I've heard of several people say they could take Rashawn Slater in the top 8. I don't buy that. Slater's one of those guys that is going to either end up going way higher than I think he is, or he's going to be down where I believe he is and everybody else is wrong. Like the talent. Would love to fit in Carolina, just don't like him at 8.
Carolina's got a lot of holes, and the thing that they need to do is not jump the line, not try to force it too early. You made a great leap in this first year under Matt Rule. And again, I think the future is bright for the Colossus Panthers.
The Colossus
Uniting
Panthers.
North and South Carolina.
Now you can reset it.
Now, like and subscribe. We'll continue with the off-season files next. The LA Rams. The LA Rams were a team that won.